Go to book 1, line 418. That's where we need to pick up. 344. We got to try to get through 440 today, and talk some English, or kind of skim through 440 to 483. So pick it up at 418. I was bragging on you with Mrs. Perkins last night. We were talking about. She teaches some high school Latin at a homeschool co-op that our children.
Oh yeah, you guys met in Latin class, right?
And what's that?
You guys met in Latin.
We did.
So
and,
cute.
And well, okay, yes. She was saying really fine and wonderful things about her students, and I said, I got a class that really ranks up there with the ones you've got, and well, actually, it's period 4, 5.
Yes.
No, it's period 9. I was telling them about you guys. You guys are very well engaged, and I'm really talking about everybody in your room. Everybody is well engaged. Everybody's offering comments. Folks are prepared for the most part, and doing a fine job there. Doing a fine job. All right. So we pick it up in 418.
Whatever you are.
We left off last time, and Venus had appeared to Aeneas and Achates and told them, give them a little bit of information. Told them what?
That
we all do.
amazing, and then Elizabeth,
Right. I'm not going to go down this reference path if nobody's seen the movie. Do you remember a movie called Wayne's World?
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you mean? Have I heard of a movie called Wayne's?
Well, okay, you wear rock and roll shirts. I'm sure you.
I live Wayne's World.
Okay.
I haven't watched it, but I've heard of it.
Excellent. Have enough people seen this? This is a worthwhile reference.
Yes.
I've seen a
Why
movie
is there a
straight from Rachel.
camera?
Just do it.
Okay.
Just do it.
There's a scene where
Golden.
Wayne and Garth they've stolen around backstage with Alice Cooper and whatnot, and then they end up going out the wrong door to get locked outside. And then there's this security guard, Chris Farley, who fills them in on all this information. And at one point, Wayne looks at the camera and he says, he's got a bit too much information for a security guard, don't you think? And you typically will have a character like that. Of course, part of what the movie's making fun of is those kinds of stories. Here you've got this Venus, you got this Spartan huntress who appears in the middle of the woods, and suddenly she's got all this geopolitical information about this new kingdom that's been formed in North Africa, Kind of odd for a Spartan huntress to have that information at her fingertips, don't you think? But again, you don't pay attention to that, you just go with it. So she's told them about, by the way, that's the first time I've ever made that reference. So.
Is it the first time to Wayne's World, or just?
It's certainly the first time I've made a reference to that scene in Wayne's World, certainly the first time I've connected Wayne's World to this particular scene of the Aeneid. Maybe the first time I've ever referenced Wayne's World. I doubt that one. I've surely referenced it once or twice over the past 25 years. But I know for a fact that's the first time I've made that.
I've never referenced Wayne's World.
The guys are covered in a cloud, and we pick it up there. Corripuera viam interia. I want to hear that literally. Somebody. Corripuera viam interia.
Meanwhile, they hasten
Meanwhile, they hastened
along the road.
along the road. Good. Somebody parts Corripuera.
Wait, are we doing translation?
Third plural. Yeah. Third plural what? Perfect. Keep going. Active or passive and mood. Active and indicative. There it is. Third plural. Perfect active indicative. Long ERE. Very common in Virgil. Meanwhile,
Wait, can you
they.
repeat?
Well, yeah, first 3 words. Do it again.
Meanwhile, they hastened along the road.
Hasten along the road. Qua semita monstrat. They hasten along the road. Qua semita monstrat. Where the path shows, right? So they hasten along the path, or the road where the path shows. So, it's an obvious path. They don't go wandering through the brambles or something. They go down the obvious path. And now they were ascendevant colem, yam. All right, let's pay attention to this word yam real quickly. Yam, depending on the tense of the verb, can mean already, soon, or now. Yom can mean already with a past tense verb. It will usually mean soon with a future tense verb. It'll mean now with a present tense verb. Okay? So they were already konsken debant, or asken debant column.
Ascending
They were climbing the hill, right? Qui plurimus urbi imminet,
which looms high over the city.
which, yeah, overhangs, right? Imminet, it overhangs the city. Plurimus. Yeah, it's a superlative of multus, okay, which very much overhangs the city. I'm not sure a good way to say that, which very much overhangs the city. And adversas aspectat de super arches. And what else does this hill do? It both imminet and it de super aspectat.
Looks down.
Looks down upon the,
Towers.
what kind of towers?
Faces.
The facing towers. The facing towers. And certainly adversus does mean adverse, as in turned against you, therefore opposing. But I think very often you're just best off with facing. Okay? So to get to the top of this hill, they're looking down over the city of Carthage. Mirator molem Aeneas.
Aeneas marvels.
Aeneas marvels at this molem. This mass. I mean, this is a serious talk about urban sprawl, okay? This is a serious mass of buildings. They have crested this hill and they look over the top. Something Magalia Quondam, once just huts. This was not that he would have known that because it was his first time there. But it was once just huts, and now it has already grown since Dido has been taken over, or establishing this. It's grown into this huge, sprawling place. He mirator portas. Marvels, that's the gates, strepitumque, and the noise, and the strata viarum, and the pavement of the roads. What do you notice about line 421, beginning of 422? Mirator molem magalia quondam mirator. Got some alliteration going on there with what? The letter M, and it's like he's stammering. All right, now literally he's not talking to the poem. Virgil's the one doing the narration, but the character, it's almost as if he's stammering. He's going, "Wow, Legates, look at that! Get a load of that city." And of course, this is what's going to impress. It's going to impress Aeneas. Why? What's he about?
He's about
Building a city.
He is about building a city. Okay? And I'll have to keep it on me. I want to double check something before I make a web reference.
See if I can get it close enough.
Yeah, okay. Don't think I've got copies. I got copies. There's an article I want you to look up and read. There's an article I want you to look up and read.
translation.
What's that? No, it's too long. You need to print it out and read it over the weekend. I'm trying to think for just. Tell you what, go on to My Big Campus this weekend. Go on to My Big Campus this weekend, and I'm going to have an article pasted on in the AP Latin section, and that Pages link that has all the videos. I'm going to have an article posted there for you. Okay? Short, it's about a 2-page article. Read it and annotate it along with
What's the name?
I forget the whole title. The title, the beginning of the title is Virgilian Works Righteousness.
Okay.
I think it's like a look at law, the issue of labor in the Indian or something like that. But anyhow, it relates to what Aeneas is all about. Print it, read it, annotate it. We'll talk about it on Monday. So he's all about building a city, and here's somebody who's already done it. Now here's something big to talk about. What are the similarities already that you notice between Dido and Aeneas as characters?
City builders.
City cultures.
They're culture builders, okay, what else?
They voted over.
Rulers of the people, they what?
They sailed across the seas.
Not only they sail across the sea, but they sail from the same part of the world.
From oh, so they have similar like
Okay.
background.
So he's here and she's here, but still, they've both come westward from the east. Under what circumstances?
Awful ones.
Under duress, very good. What was Dido's situation?
Her
One is
Pygmalion.
Her husband,
Her
yeah,
brother
came back.
Pygmalion, her husband came back from the dead, says, hey, you gotta go. And she's basically forced to leave under this horrible circumstance of her brother taking over her kingdom.
So
Aeneas is forced to leave because of war, of course. And they're both looking to build a new home for their people. Also, you may remember from first year, where's Aeneas' wife at this point?
She's
Dead. Where's Dido's husband?
Dead.
Dead. So you've got a lot of parallels between these two leaders. What's going to be interesting is how each one fulfills his or her work obligations. Yes.
How does Dido die again?
She
kills
burns
herself.
She kills herself.
So
She
those
falls
two are
on
exactly like Lewis
on
and
his
Clark.
sword.
They went westward
All
to
this
find
on fire.
new peoples, and one of them killed them.
You know, I've forgotten which one.
Meriwether.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I
Wait,
totally
who
forgot.
himself?
Yeah.
Wait, Clark kills himself?
Lewis.
Lewis.
Clark goes
Why?
on the rule
Why
of the
Lewis
entire
kills him?
territory.
Why does Lewis kill him?
He's
I don't
sad.
know.
He was depressed, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was depressed.
Well, they didn't
What?
have
He
Zoloft
was
back
freaking
then.
exploring a new world. I would have been so
I
happy.
missed something. What am
Lewis and Clark expedition.
You know what we're talking
Westward
I
expansion.
want to be like Latin. I was like, Luke.
Yeah.
I want to be an explorer so badly.
What's that?
But there's nothing left to. I want to be an explorer so
I
badly.
guess
But there's
space.
nothing left to explore.
Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett. What?
Jimmy Buffett.
Why Jimmy Buffett?
We know Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
I hate Jimmy
Everybody,
Buffett.
I want to punch him.
Do it, man. That's worth it. I'm willing
No,
to say that.
Jimmy Buffett. Not everybody, of course, knows, like, Margaritaville and all this kind of stuff. He's got a wonderful song called A Pirate Looks at 40. And it's an aging guy, he's hitting 40, and he's reminiscing about his heroes as a kid. And, you like pirate stories, And he's got the line, he says, but the problem is, the cannons don't thunder. There's nothing to plunder. I'm an over 40 victim of fate, arriving too late. And that's kind of it. You're right, there's what's there to explore?
Space.
Now, space
Infinite.
is sort of what you might call the final frontier.
Star
Trek?
Look at this infinite.
You want to keep going?
I really do. I think there's still a lot of stuff to explore in the ocean. I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah.
certainly haven't
Yeah, but my ears
fully.
pop.
And I'm not sure that I'm not sure that we really are deeply acquainted as we should be with, Antarctica. But then again,
I'll go there.
there's a reason. It's a giant
Actually,
freaking ice
no,
sheet.
it would suck. Like I want to do somewhere like like forest.
Yeah.
Maybe you can
Actually, a lot of
maybe
jungles in
discover a new, like,
South
spiders.
America are only known to like local people.
Go to
Okay.
the jungle.
What
Sorry,
if you
okay,
wait till
cool.
like
Gotta throw this out there, we gotta move on.
Okay.
Wonderful author named Steve Berry, capital B-E-R-R-Y is the guy's name. Writes these thick, massive novels, but they are so fast to read. They're very good page turns. They are what you call, I guess you call them thrillers. And this guy, the main character, is an kind of like a CIA operative. He's living now, I think, in like Denmark or something. He owns the main character, he runs a used bookstore in Denmark or something. But he keeps getting drawn back into these CIA kinds of things. And Barry does incredibly good research. And his novels are always titled The Something Something. So it's like the Alexandria Link, the Jefferson Key, the whatever. And it's always something connected to history. And one, I'm trying to remember the title, I just read it this summer. It deals with Antarctica. And it deals with, somebody mentioned this. Was it you, John? Somebody mentioned this last year. Some manuscript that's written in a language that nobody understands to this day. We've got, I want to say something like the Voynich manuscript or something like this. There's a manuscript that we've got, and it's written in a language that nobody understands. We don't know if it's gibberish, we don't know if it's forgery, we don't really know what it is. It's got interesting pictures, little drawings and so forth. We're not sure all what the drawings are either. And so he's taken this and he's woven it together into an incredible story. And of course, you know, it's fiction, but based in a lot of real stuff. And a lot of it takes place in Antarctica. And it deals with an actual, I think, nuclear sub that did go to Antarctica back in the 70s or something like that. So anyhow, just all right. So he gazes at all this stuff. He wonders at it. He thinks it's pretty amazing. And what's going on down below? Instant ardentes tirii. The Tyrians are hard at work. The instant, right? They're pressing on ardentes. Burning, right? If you're ardent, that means you're passionate about something.
Arson.
The word, your blood is all worked up. And so they're passionate, they're burning for it, they're doing their work. Pars ducera muros, molari quarke, it manibus subvolvera saxa, pars optare locum tected concludere sulco. So you got pars and pars, 2 lines apart. What does that mean? Pars and pars. Well, no, that's that. Pars just means what? No, not and. Pars. Like it kind of looks. Think with the genitive, partis. Part, yeah. Part of them are doing one thing, part of them are doing something else. Okay? Part of them are doing one thing, part of them are doing something else. Now what you notice are the verbs ducere, moliri, subvolvere, and optare, and concludere. What do you notice about all those verbs? They're all what? They're all infinitives. We should have actually had finite verbs, right? Infinitive means it has no ending, no finis. That's why it's infinite, no ending, no personal ending. A finite verb is one that has a personal ending on it, like mus or tis or something like that. It's called a historical infinitive. So when you want to show rapidity of action, right? Stuff's happening really, really fast. It's like the author doesn't even bother to put the personal endings on. You just throw the infinitives out there, okay? So it kind of heightens the action. So pars are doing this and this and this, and another part's doing this and this and this. And what are they doing? Ducere muros. Leading walls. I like that. Leading walls. If you think about it, right, you're stacking your bricks, right, you're setting stuff up, and then you move out a little bit more and you stack some more, right? Literally, it's like you're drawing, duco, ducere, you're leading out the walls. What else are they doing? Moliri arcem. Raising or establishing an arcem. Citadel. Now, arcus. We had it earlier, meant towers. I think in a plural, you're best off going with towers. As a singular, it's usually citadel. What is a citadel? The question first.
I know what a citadel is.
I think we're going to let Caitlin answer because you got the hand up for that.
Second year, wasn't there a story we read where people like hid out and like?
Yep.
In the Arcus was the word.
Caesar was like attacking.
What do you remember about this story?
I think I remember that
Big
vaguely.
It was like up
I'm
like
saying.
on a hill, like was the Parthenon? Was it? No, it was.
Are you talking about Caesar?
No, I don't think it was Caesar.
It was Rome.
It was Rome. Yeah, it was in Rome. I can't remember.
That comes.
It's a long time ago.
Boom.
What? All right. I'll
Surprise.
take. Guys, what should I take?
The one that's like tie-dye.
Yeah, it's Tyler. Oh,
Tyler?
that's right. Okay.
Zebra,
No,
zebra,
you
zebra, zebra,
want
zebra,
the
zebra,
tie.
zebra, zebra.
He called Tyler.
I would always go with the
Wow. Well, okay, Cooper's exactly right. I think we probably spent all of 90 seconds on that story, 2 years ago. How in the world do you remember that?
Remember when Cooper used to be such a good leader? Like, great model
wow.
student?
I know.
Those were the,
That's
That never happened.
those were the days.
Wow. Okay, well, we'll get back to that story in just a minute. What's a citadel, Caitlin?
The central point of the city where everyone
There you go. The central fortress of the city. Okay? The central fortress of Troy was called Pergamum. Pergamum. In fact, Pergamum almost becomes a synonym for Troy. This is the central defensive location where you keep your weapons and so forth, and where your people will go in time of trouble, like what Coop is thinking about. I remember the same story, but it was in the, let's see, 4th century BC, so 300s, I'm almost positive. Maybe in the 5th century. I think it's 4th century. The Gauls, under a fellow named Brennus, were marching down through Italy. Everybody got scared. A lot of people fled the city. Most of the other people holed up in the citadel in the center, except for the senators. Yes.
I was just going to ask if that's the one where the senators sit out in the forum.
That's it. That's it. The senators, this was back when beards were in fashion, and by the time you get to Julius Caesar, clean shaven was in fashion. But back in the older days, beards were in fashion, and these guys were all sitting out there with their beards, and they just were sitting just rock still. In come the Gauls. And the Gauls had never seen anything like Rome before, and looking around, wow, this is really amazing stuff. And they see all these old guys sitting out in the forum. They're not sure if they're real or they're statues or what they are. And one of the Gauls goes up and he tweaks his old geezer's beard, and the guy reaches out with a stick and smacks the Gaul on the head. At which point the barbarians proceeded to slaughter the senators who were sitting there.
Oh,
So yeah, it didn't end well.
that's sad.
You know, it's a Roman story.
I had a
It's
weird
not
thing
American.
that was like this
That's it. Anyhow,
Never.
It was wrong.
they're building this citadel, and with their manibus, with their bare hands, they subwalvera saxa. They rolled rocks into place. Another part of them, obtore locum tecto,
Site for a house.
is choosing locum tecto.
The location.
Location for, now, tectum. Tectum. Let's talk about this. Tego, tegera, texi, tectus is the verb that means to weave. Think textile from the 3rd dictionary entry. All right, this is the verb that means to weave. Now, from the 4th part, you got a standalone noun, tectum, tecti, neuter, which meant roof. This was a throwback to the days when everything was huts and you had thatched roofs. All right, so you had stuff that was kind of woven over and over. Then through synecdoche, right, part for the whole, tectum comes to mean building. Okay? So just referencing the roof, you're really referencing the whole building. Okay? So neat etymology. They basically, other parts were looking for a place for a building. And concludere sulco. What else were they doing? They were concludere, enclosing it with a sulco, with a trench. Okay? Notice lines, and this is going to be very, very important to note and really to annotate. Lines 423, 4, and 5 are all about what? All about physical building. Okay? The first thing you got to do when you're going to set something up for your people is the physical building, right? You got to build homes, and you've got to build places for people to be, defenses with walls and so forth. Now, what else are they doing? It says, Jura magistratusque legunt. They are legunt. They're gathering, they're choosing. Jura, laws, and magistratus, and magistrates. What are magistrates? Officers, elected leaders. You've demonstrated your incredible memory earlier with that from 2 years ago. I sincerely hope you're able to remember all the stuff we're talking about here, because you don't have a thing written down and aren't writing anything. Okay. Sincerely hope so. They're choosing laws, they're choosing magistrates, leaders, and a sanctum senatum, and a sacred senate. Now, Notice he does the parallel thing. Pars, pars. He does another parallel thing in 427, but he does it differently. He does it with heek and heek. Here and over here. All right, so when he's trying to show difference of action, right? The one time he uses the noun pars to talk about different groups of people, and the other time he uses the adverb, here and here. Okay? Over here, they, alii, others, are ephodian portus, are digging harbors. Over here, alii again, others, are locant, synonym for ponent, are placing, are establishing the alta fundamenta. Some kind of foundations. What kind of foundation? The alta foundation. Deep foundations. Now, I really wondered if anybody was going to say high. Most people look at alta and say high, but remember, that depends on which direction you're going. If it's above ground, it's high. Same word means deep when the direction is below ground. So over here, they're building, or setting the foundations, deep foundations for theatris, for theaters. And they are excidunt, they're carving or cutting out from the rupibus, from the cliffs, imanes columnas, huge columns. What are these huge columns? They are simply the alta decora. Here's the other meaning of alta, so you can get both meanings right close. The tall decora for futuris scinis, for future stages, future scenes. Now, I really want you to look at this. First section that Aeneas sees is them doing what? Physical labor, and that's the first thing you have to do when you build a city. What's the next thing that Aeneas sees? Government and infrastructure. That's the next thing that a society needs. And what's the last thing that he notices? The arts and culture. And that's the last thing that a society gets. And so you see the progression of a society. It's what Aeneas is going to want to do, ultimately. It's what Rome's ultimately going to want to be. And right there it is, folks, in the Aeneid. Don't ever, ever discount the arts.
That's, dude, you and Mr. Hall agree on that.
In school, in your communities, whatever. I'm not an artist. Graphically. I'm a writer. I'm not, I can sing, but I'm not really a musician. I'm not a graphic artist. Doesn't matter. I'm telling you that what goes on in the art department is every bit as important as what's going on over in the math department.
If not more.
Don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise. Because it is. This is what we do. We're human beings. We create, we express. Now, do you need math? Well, of course you need math. Of course you need science. Especially in today's age. These are terribly important things. But at the expense of literature?
No.
Or the arts? Or the performing arts? For a school to cut a choir program and keep the math teacher makes no sense to me. I truly don't understand it. Cut the math teacher. Oh, well, we can't cut the math teacher. Well, how can you cut the art teacher? Right here is the classic example, right? This is what a society, now you've got to do your basic stuff first, right? You got to live, you got to protect yourself against the elements, build. And you got to know how to interact with each other. You got to have laws, you got to have structure. But if you stop there, you haven't really fulfilled a human society, yeah.
Sounds to me like the like somebody's triangle of need or something.
Do what?
I forget who it was. Some famous psychologist.
Yeah, there's some psychologists. Do you know this one? It's like 7 different layers. It's like
Yeah,
you need
like
food
you have to be
and
safe
this and
like
this and
basic
this.
physical needs.
Oh, right, I just didn't hear what you were saying.
Yeah.
Yes. I want to say it's Maslow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Maslow's hierarchy of
Yeah.
needs. Yeah. Right. And then again, there's the basic stuff, and you have to take care of that. Now, the flip side. Should we really be funding a brand new, say, opera house if we got folks who are starving in the city?
No.
All right, again, you gotta get those basic needs met. You gotta make sure your citizens are taken care of, or you help them to take care of themselves, but you gotta do that. But once you've moved past that subsistence living, what do you do with your time? Well, humans create, and that's what that is. So very nice stuff there. Now, he compares them. He says it's just like 430 apes. Just like a bunch of apes. Bunch of bees. The Romans have the same metaphor that we do. Talk about busy as bees. Same metaphor. Bees have been busy for millennia. But when are we going to get a break?
Well, actually, they're kind of going extinct, so.
Well,
Just,
Thank God. Oh wait, no honey.
No, like no
No
pollination.
what did you see? Did you see the bee movie?
All you thought about was your honey.
Did you see the bee movie?
It was
When they
horrible.
tranquilized Pooh Bear, I died of laughter.
Oh, that just made my heart hurt because I'm a Pooh Bear fan.
That was
I
not.
could not stop
That's-
laughing.
I found that funny.
Also, I was very upset about that. Yes.
Movie, they tranquilized Pooh Bear.
There was on the radio, there was just a short thing about how the person who created Winnie the Pooh, they were a terrible father, and Christopher Robin committed suicide because
I didn't know that you committed suicide.
I don't know,
that.
he died, and like one of the last things he was talking about was how he always felt bad about us.
Yeah, I think he was a strange. A. Milne is the author of the Winnie the Pooh stories, and my understanding that Christopher Robin was based on his son, but they were estranged. They never. My understanding was they had a horrible relationship.
Christopher, like the main kid.
Yes, was his
killed
son.
himself.
Well, and I didn't know that,
The actual
That
son.
might not be right, but
but certainly it was a
Well,
bad
it makes sense
relationship.
because he's like making up all these characters.
Well, and I gotta say, that
It's pretty dark.
he was saying he'd rather his father had spent time with him than he made it to the
I'll tell you that.
Oh.
I mean, I know the story, but
So wait, so you're
that
referring to a bad father?
that will unsettle me more than.
You prefer to be a writer than his father?
That just
Um,
you know that
I'm trying to remember. You guys know the story. You know Boswell, the British biographer. Boswell's Lives. And one of the most famous is Boswell's Life of Johnson. And I forget if the story's about Boswell or if it's about Johnson. One of these guys had written some journal entry about a day he had spent with his father. And he described it as the most wonderful day when he was a boy, and just rare opportunity to spend a day with dad and so forth. And this is back in 1700s. And the dad had a similar journal entry. And he mentioned that he'd spent the day with his son, and his only line in the journal was, complete waste of time. Dad didn't get it. Dad didn't understand what that meant to spend time with his son. And for A.E. Milne to craft these wonderful children's stories, and then not to have actually had a relationship with his own child is tragic. That's what breaks my heart. Okay,
That's cool.
moving on. Well, let's talk about bees. That's something happy at least. Yes. Gee whiz. Freaking depressed now. All right. Like a bunch of bees in the Aistate Nola. In the what?
In the
In the early summer, right? It's the new summer, so it's the early summer. It's like a bunch of bees in the early summer. Throughout the Floria Rura,
Flowery fields.
throughout the flowery fields, right? The flowery countryside, Rura, like rural. Throughout the flowery countryside, just like this bunch of bees, exercet sub sole labor. Labor exercet the bees.
Oh, carry out.
You want to make labor
Yeah.
the verb. It's not. Labor is the subject.
It's something
Labor
to
work.
Labor exercet the bees.
Exhausting.
making labor.
No, labor.
Exhausting.
Exercise the bees. Now, honestly, we're not used to that. We're used to using the word exercise as a self-reflexive verb, right? I'm going to the gym to exercise. What we've forgotten is that exercise does take a direct object. When I go to the gym to exercise, there's an implied my body or my muscles or some direct object there. And in an earlier stage of English, we really did use it that way when we talk about something exercising you. Okay? So maybe there's some political issue that really did